Hello guys, I'm recording this, my sort of a review of Michael Moore's film, the latest one, the one where he talks about all the people slightly cheating on trying to fix climate change. I'm doing it because a friend of mine asked me why is it that I don't like the movie, and I understood that I would probably gonna have to write a book to cover the whole subject. But for me, the whole idea about this movie, there's times when people should retire because you just feel that, look, you're not getting it. You kind of not quite there. Time to sit down on your porch, have a beer, and enjoy all the works you've done before. Or at least have a reasonable break of doing something really different. So I think Michael Moore has kind of reached that stage, or at least he should have stayed away from politics and documentaries for a while. But instead of going retired, he has gone retarded. And why do I think this? Well, the entire premise of the movie is obviously, there are a group of people who have been cheating on the way they fight climate change. And look, I'm not arguing, a little cheat here, a little cheat there, but to be honest, right now, the stuff he's talking about is just minuscule. It just doesn't matter. If he has made that movie 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when he was just catching them out, and then, yeah, maybe, But looking at what is going on now, I'm afraid we have got much bigger problems. And look, some guy who cuts a couple of trees to run his heating station or electricity production station, alright, it's a problem, but it can be easily fixed. Just make sure he plants more trees. Right, you want to make a movie about climate change, climate issues? How about this? Right? The amount of trees that have been chopped up in, for example, Russia, is like the areas which used to have trees and now are barren are more than the size of Europe. Most of the Europe. Not a separate country in Europe. Not like Germany or I don't know, England. It's like France. No, it's like all of them put together. Right? Nobody pays attention. From Ukraine, the amount of trees have been chopped up to provide cheap furniture and stuff like this for Europeans in Ukraine. Well, it's bigger than a few cities put together. As a matter of fact, there is floods and things like this which are caused by lack of trees in Carpathian Mountains every year. Oh, nobody noticed. He wants to talk about trees chopped up. Well, how about he directs his attention to people chopping up millions of trees every year just to give people palm oil? I mean, it would be nice if they planted some trees, right? But Michael Moore doesn't really give a shit. Why? Because he doesn't have any big names he can throw around and just play that he has caught these politicians red-handed. People know that so many trees are being chopped up. Nobody gives a shit. To put you the idea how big this problem is for humanity is very simple. Each tree, in dry weight of the tree, it holds 50% of it is carbon. So the stuff that pollutes our atmosphere. Yep. So all the carbon, we're getting a lot of it in the air, and it's not being put back into trees. Wonder why? Now humans are complaining that the oceans are rising out of nowhere. Well, each tree is 50% water on average. Sometimes more, sometimes less. So if you cut down billions of trees, each one of them holding from 5 to 20 liters of water, where does that water go? Like, they're not picking it out. For example, in Carpathian Mountains, the reason they have floods is because in the spring, when the trees wake up and start taking the water out of the land, it stops the water from spilling over and causing floods and other things. We don't have that, so all that water has to go somewhere. I mean, there is a scientific experiment which proves that melting ice does not really influence the ocean levels that much. You can actually run that experiment yourself. Fill up the glass, put some ice in it, and wait till it melts and see how far the water is going to raise after the ice has melted. You'll find it's not very far. But the lack of trees, yep, there's a problem. Nah, Michael Moore is not going to talk about this. He only cares about like putting some big name on his movies so that he can get paid. But here's another problem. A problem which very few people talk about. And the problem right now is that humanity is actually dying out. For the last 30 plus years, cheers to that, for most of my life, we have been dying out. If you don't believe me, just look around. I'm nearly 40 years old. Look around and see how many of your friends have got more than one kid. Hey, how many of your friends have actually got a kid? No, we're not talking those slightly older people. We're talking like everyday people. How many the people that you know have got more than one kid or a kid at all? Now that's a problem. And I know everybody says, yeah, but our numbers are greater than ever. Yeah, but it's all thanks to people that were born in 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, some of them 1970s. Now that's a problem nobody talks about. I mean, all credit due, the guys have finally learned to pull it out when they have to. But what we're also seeing is that overall, the humanity is getting much older and we are not really growing in numbers anymore. See how our economy is going to do when in the next 10 to 20 years, all those people like my parents and my parents' parents, or my parents' parents are already passed away, but many people that are age of my parents, like 60s, their parents are quite often still alive in their 80s, like, you know, late 70s, 80s. See how those people can, see what happens when those people go. See how our economy progresses then. At the moment, we have more people of 65 years and older around the globe. We're not talking just one given country, but around the globe, we have more people that are 65 and over than 5 years and younger. Right, so those people on average will go until between 65 and 85. Most of them are gonna go. Sad fact, yes, but a fact nevertheless. The generation that comes to replace them, those 5-year-olds and younger, is not gonna be there. And this goes on for most of the age differences. Now, that's a problem, which neither Michael Moore or anybody else I see talking about. So when somebody makes a little movie about catching some politician or a financier cheating the system a little bit out of it, I'm sorry if I'm not impressed. It's just same as, when Hitler was killing and Stalin were killing millions of people, somebody would have been saying, hey, you know what, don't look at them, there is somebody who stole an apple from the market stall. Right, those don't matter, but somebody's stealing an apple. That's important. So that's why I think Michael Moore has completely lost it. His idea of talking in his movie where he says, look, there's just too many people. And what should we do? Kill them all? Well, wait for 20 years and your wish is gonna be granted, you fat cunt. It's very hard to say that when I'm fat myself. But overall, that's my opinion on Michael Moore's movie. It's just way out of touch and it's not really touching on anything that it should be touching on. So that's my opinion. Have a good day. Goodbye.